Good Friday morning, everybody. Chris here with High Seas Cruising, and welcome to the Cruise News. And we're going to start off today talking about the two biggest cruise ports here in the United States, Port Canaveral and Port Miami. Now, these two cruise ports are constantly battling it, back and forth. Who is bigger? Who is better? Who reigns supreme as number one? And they trade this title back and forth. Who has the most cruise passengers? Who gets the newest ships? And no matter which port you like the most, well, they have both shattered their records for the number of cruise passengers that they have handled here in the last fiscal year. So both ports closed out their fiscal year in September. So Port Canaveral had 7.6 million cruise passengers on 911 different sailings out of that particular port, and that is an increase from 6.8 million from the year before, while the Port of Miami did 8.2 million passengers, an increase from last year's numbers of 7.3 million. So a lot of new or increased cruise traffic, clearly showing those are two very popular cruise ports and clearly showing an increase in the number of cruise passengers. There's been a lot of new first-time cruisers here over the last years, and that definitely reflects in these numbers. Now, these numbers are still expected to go up. Port Canaveral is set to get Royal Caribbean's newest cruise ship, Star of the Seas, coming in August of 2025. That's definitely going to boost their numbers. They're also going to get the Norwegian Aqua in April of 2025. So two new cruise ships heading to Port Canaveral in the coming year. Port of Miami currently has the world's largest cruise ship, Icon of the Seas, and we'll be getting MSC's World of America in April of 2025. And we'll also have the world's largest cruise terminal in the spring of 2025 when MSC Cruise Lines opens their new terminal there. And Royal Caribbean will be getting a new terminal as well in the Port of Miami. Currently, Terminal G, it is going to be demolished and rebuilt into a two-story cruise terminal with additional parking structures. So lots of growth for the Port of Miami, lots of growth for Port Canaveral, not expected to end anytime soon. Next up, Royal Caribbean's Voyager of the Seas, currently in dry dock over in Spain, not going to be ready in time. They've had some bad weather. It has caused delays, but it is only going to cause a 1-day delay. So the first post-dry dock cruise was supposed to sail in 2 days here on November the 10th. It has been pushed back 1 day to November the 11th. It has caused an itinerary change. The port stop in Valencia, Spain has been canceled, but the remainder of the itinerary remains unchanged. Now, MSC Cruise Lines, they've added a new tier level, a new top tier level to their loyalty program called Blue Diamond. And the Blue Diamond loyalty level will, of course, have everything that's available in the levels below it, Diamond and below. Will be prioritized for cabin upgrades. Will enjoy My Time dining. They will get complimentary browse Wi-Fi service for one device, priority access to tender boats in port, and a meet and greet with the ship's captain or senior officer. Now, one thing to note about the new Blue Diamond tier, however, is this can only be achieved by sailing on MSC Cruise Lines. See, MSC does a loyalty match program where if you have higher loyalty levels on other cruise lines, MSC will match it. However, Blue Diamond is not available for the matching program. You actually have to do the sailings on MSC to achieve this level. Villa V Odyssey, back in the cruise news. Now, everybody remembers the Villa V Odyssey, delayed for months and months and months. Cruise passengers stuck in Dublin, Ireland. Company running out of money, telling people to pay their own expenses. Before this residential cruise ship was finally able to set sail on October the 3rd. Now, they are back in the cruise news. They have not broken down. There's no additional ship problems that I know of, but they have come out with a new program. And there's a specific reason why they've come out with this program. See, the Villa V Odyssey has the capacity of carrying 600 cruise passengers. However, there's not 600 people on board this ship. Not even close. There is actually currently 100 residents living on board the cruise ship of a ship that can hold 600. Now, if you're one of those 100 on board the ship, it's probably a great experience, and you pretty much have the entire cruise ship to yourselves for the most part. It's definitely not crowded, but from a business standpoint, this affects the bottom line when your cruise ship is 75% empty? And to combat this, Villa V, well, they want to attract more residents. They want to fill more space by offering flexible cruise options so you can try it out without a permanent commitment. Thought being that, hey, you try it out, you're going to love it, you're going to spend the money, you're going to want to become one of those 600 residents. Now, this program is probably not for your average cruise passenger because this cruise price for this Test It program is not for your average cruise passenger either, because you have options like 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years on board the cruise ship. With cruise prices that are $49,999, we'll just call that $50,000 per person for 1 year, all the way up to the 4-year option of $160,000 per person. So definitely not in every cruiser's budget, definitely not in my budget. But they do have, I guess, what could be called the test drive option, the try it before you buy it option, because you can do a 7-day cruise on the Villa V Odyssey for roughly right around $2,000. So my question is, who is currently calling Villa V saying, hey, book me on that particular sailing? Because at least for me, those prices, they're just a little bit out of my reach. And finally, back on November the 7th, Royal Caribbean's Explorer of the Seas. Well, she had a slight encounter with Mother Nature that probably surprised, scared, and confused some of the cruise passengers on board. Now, while cruise lines, they do their best to avoid bad weather, they do their best to stay out of storms, they do their best to keep the ride as comfortable as they possibly can for cruise passengers. Well, Mother Nature, she occasionally likes to reach out and kind of slap you upside the head. And that's pretty much what happened here to the Explorer of the Seas. One of those rogue winds, sudden gusts of wind that come with that unexpected squall, well, hit the side of the ship, caused the ship to do a little bit of tilting, leaning over to the side action. And when this happens, plates begin to slide off of tables. Tables and chairs begin to move across the cruise ship. Food flies everywhere, stuff goes everywhere, and naturally, cruise passengers get scared. When we were on Royal Caribbean's Voyager of the Seas, this happened. We were up eating in the buffet when one of these rogue winds, rogue waves hit the side of the ship. The ship tilted to a 45 degree angle, and even our plates on our table said, whoop, slid right off of the table. And when a cruise ship is tilting over that far, you can feel it. You notice it. Your body tells you, hey, this isn't right. And that's what happened on Explorer Seas. Now I'm going to show you a quick video that was shot from on board the ship. It was shot down on the promenade deck when the ship began to tilt. And you can see some tables going right across the deck. You can see some passengers going right from one side to the other. So let's take a look.
Fuck. Yeah, that is really hard. No, it's not.
Now, there were no major injuries reported from this, but there was a few minor injuries. And the captain was able to correct the situation. Remember, the sides of cruise ships, they can be flat. They're essentially big walls. And when the wind is hitting the side of the ship, begins to push it over, the normal course of action at this point is to slow down and to turn. And by turning, you take the wind off of the side of the ship, you put it on the bow of the ship, you put it on the aft of the ship, and the ship will go back to normal the way it's supposed to. But it's not instantaneous. It can take a minute for the wind to hit, the ship to tilt, the bridge crew to react, and get the ship moved into a new position. Now, this little incident did not affect the itinerary whatsoever. The ship continued on with no further issues or problems. But yeah, for those that post on the internet and said it's scary, they were frightened, they were terrified, it comes on quickly and they have no idea what's going on, they are absolutely right. I've been there, done that, been in that situation, and yeah, it's really unexpected, and it is definitely scary when your cruise ship goes from this to this. All right, and that is going to be our video for today. If you've enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you haven't done so yet, do me a favor and hit subscribe. It is free to do so. helps our channel grow. Let you know anytime we put out a new video. Hope everyone out there is having a really great day. And like always, we will see you out on the high seas.